Hello and welcome to the Torah Outreach Program, Erev Shabbos Burst of Inspiration. Today's Burst of Inspiration is sponsored by Mr. Brian Susnow as a schus for the neshama, a merit for the soul of Yitzchak Yaakov ben Avraham. As usual, it is also dedicated as a schus of merit for the soldiers in Gaza, the soldiers in the north, and especially the hostages. May they all come home immediately and safely. This week's Parsha, Parshas Emor, discusses all the Jewish holidays, all the special holy times of the Jewish people, starting with, of course, Shabbos, which that's a question in itself. Shabbos really shouldn't be grouped together with the holidays. It's very, very different. But that's a discussion in itself. But it also discusses a mitzvah that we are involved in right now, this time of year. This mitzvah takes place starting from the second night of Pesach and continues till the day before Shavuos. Now you have to imagine, as I've said to many of my facilities, or all my facilities over the last couple of weeks, you have to imagine the grandeur, the beauty of what happened in the time of the Beis Hamikdash in the temple. The day before Pesach, the Jewish people converge on the city of Yerushalayim. Every group or every family sends a representative with a sheep for the Paschal sacrifice to the Beis Hamikdash. The sheep are slaughtered there, sent home, prepared, skinned, put on a spit for roasting, and it's roasting in the yard while people are inside having their seder. And when they get to the part of the Shulchan Aruch, the meal, instead of having whatever is served in different homes, everybody's having the same thing, roasted lamb, but not just roasted lamb, the sacrifice that gives us our identity as the chosen people who are taken out of Egypt, as the chosen people that God skipped over the Jewish homes when he killed the firstborns of the Egyptians. This sacrifice is so precious to us that another thing that's happening next week is the makeup day, Pesach Sheni, the only sacrifice that has a makeup day. If we miss it for unavoidable reasons, a person can bring the Korban Pesach 1 month later as a makeup for the one he missed on Pesach. But then, the second night of Pesach in Jerusalem, where they only kept one day of the holiday and the rest was Chol Moed until the end. The first day and last day were Kodesh, were Yom Tovim. The middle was called Chol Moed, which is in between. But that second night, the entire Jewish people that were able to and wanted to see what was going on marched out of the city to the nearest barley field. The Kohanim were there ready, or a Kohen was ready with his sickle to cut the barley. And they all called out that the holiday, that is Motzei Shabbos, or Motzei Chag, really, it's after the holiday. They would then cut the barley, and they would all count together. Hayom Yom Echad Laomer. This is the first day of the barley measurement. They then march back to the temple, dry these barley kernels out in an oven, grind them into flour, bake them into barley bread as a korban, as a sacrifice distributed to the Kohanim. It was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. But we still have part of it. Every day, from the second day of Pesach until the day before Shavuos, we count. We count what is known as the Omer, literally means the barley measurement. But there's no barley measurement anymore, but we're still counting. Why are we counting? Don't we always count when we're excited about something? Something's about to happen. You see, the Jewish people do not celebrate holidays that were. we relived them again. We weren't taken out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt, 3,336 years ago. We were taken out of Egypt the first night of Pesach this year again. And those same vibes, you could call them, those same kohos, those same auras that were around that night are around again every year. And then 50 days later, we celebrate the holiday Shavuos. Not to commemorate that the Jewish people got the Torah, the greatest gift ever given to mankind, 3,336 years ago. No. We celebrate the fact that we're getting the Torah again. Our essence. What makes us who we are. Our Torah, our mitzvos. That's that's the lifeblood of the Jewish people. If Pesach is like the Independence Day of the Jewish people, Shavuos is the day we got our Constitution. Who we are, what we are, but so much more than the Constitution. It's our lifeblood. And it was the greatest gift given to humanity, actually. Before the Torah filtered down to the rest of the world was known as an immoral, uncivil place where life and death meant nothing. Where people who were in power could kill without anybody questioning their decision for no particular reason. And then the rest of the world got a glimpse of our Torah, and we started to put our values into the world. We were literally an Or L'Goyim, a light into the nations. And that's why we're counting. We're excited. You count down to your birthday, you count down to payday. We're counting down till we get our essence, our lifeblood, our blueprints, our Torah. And we're excited. But the question is, we should be counting down. When something exciting is happening, you count how many days left. But we're counting up how many days we've been through already. Why are we counting up? When you count down, if there's not much you can do. I count down till payday. All I have to do is do the same job I do every day, and eventually payday will come. I count down to my birthday. All I have to do is live. But if you're given a job, if you're given a goal, then you don't count down. The boss comes to you and says, I want you to perform a certain task, a certain project over the next few weeks. And at the end of the project, you're going to get a huge bonus. And every day of the project, I want to see your progress. I want to see what you're doing. I want to look over your shoulder a little bit. Oh, we're not counting down anymore. It's the first day of my project. It's the second day of my project. It's the third day of my project. Now I'm counting up. I have to accomplish. I have to accomplish. As we get closer and closer to that awesome day of when the Jewish people got the Torah, we're supposed to be working towards deserving it. We have to work towards being worthy of being vessels that hold God's Torah. Any other intellectual pursuit, you don't need to be an upstanding person to be a scholar. You can be a mathematician and be a murderer, a scoundrel, a thief. You could be a professor of English literature and be a very unkind person, a very immoral person. But if you want to be a Torah person, you know how the saying goes. If you're going to talk the talk, you need to walk the walk. So we need to be worthy. We need to make ourselves worthy of God's Torah. Torah during this time. That's why, if you think about it logically, even though this time should be a huge celebration, we're celebrating coming out of Egypt and we're on our way to getting the Torah. It should be a tremendous time of happiness, but yet we celebrate, or we don't celebrate, but we commemorate with days of partial mourning. We don't shave, we don't make weddings, we don't listen to music. What happened? Because during this time, 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva died. And we are mourning that loss. A lot of questions with that. Why are we mourning that loss? We've lost so many great scholars over the centuries. Why, for a 33-day period, do we mark the loss of Rabbi Akiva's students? Because it wasn't only the loss of his students, it was a loss of Torah Sheba'al Peh. The oral Torah those days was not yet written down. Rabbi Akiva trained them not to be his students, but to be leaders. They were the representation of the Torah Sheba'al Peh, the oral Torah. They were ready to be the people who took over when Rabbi Akiva and his colleagues passed away. And when they died, the future looked bleak. It looked like the end of Torah Sheba'al Peh. But Rabbi Akiva, he wouldn't give up after everything that happened. And he was able to find 5 students to give the Torah to. But we mourn the loss of those 24,000 because it was the loss of Torah Sheba'al Peh, the possible end of Torah learning, which means the end of the world. That's why we're mourning. Why did they die? The Talmud tells us that they didn't treat each other with proper respect. Did they treat each other with respect? Of course. They were pious individuals. They were Torah leaders. But not enough. And being that they were Torah leaders, they had to be an example. If you want to be an example, you have to show, not just teach. So they were fired. And when you're fired from your mission in this world, that means you're taken from this world. Why did they die now? Simple. This is the time of year we're supposed to be thinking and working about these things. We're supposed to be thinking about bettering ourselves, about making ourselves more respectful, about making ourselves the type of people that others can point at and say, those are people of the book. Those are the Or Lagoyim, the light into the nations. That's our job. And it's this time to emphasize that, and it's this time to work on that. That way, Rabbi Akiva's students didn't die for nothing.